Hello YouTube, we are back with another video. We are kind of spoiling you all with content, but it's not my fault. I am talking to our good friend Stack here. He is someone who was formerly part of Zaenderism and left, I think like 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he reached out to me today, or rather a couple of days ago, and he wanted to do a call where he kind of exposed his story on the truth behind Teutonnia and what is actually going on. So he is someone who defected. He is making a comeback, and he is going to tell his story on what's going on. I have no idea what he's going to say. I'm just doing a spur of the moment. So let's get right into it. So Stack, go ahead and give your background. You know, kind of like I would start maybe like before you left, what made you leave and whatnot, and just go from there. You know, maybe your origin story, whatever.
Well, I'd say one day I just joined RCI, talk with like God, basically, telling me, oh, Alec is a cult leader, Alec is a this, I'm not this, Alec lies, Alec this. And I went on from there. I started talking with people around me in RCI, and then me and Fadi got into an argument, basically, about me saying something about Lake God, and he got mad, so basically all started here, and now I'm gonna tell you why. Basically, Teutonnia, I'll say this. They're good when it comes to being an army group. Formal, they're okay, they're decent. I was saying things that Alec was a cult leader, Alec was a this, Alec was a that. He's scared Freya into believing he is so powerful, he can do whatever. I mean, I believed it. I was manipulated into it, basically. And it all just started happening. I joined Teutonnia. It was okay, for the most part. And one day, something just happened. I joined the game. It was an exploiter. He was an army member, basically. He was having Nazi flags and saying, Hail Hitler, Hail Hitler. Every head up, they just said, oh yeah, LOL, it's okay, because, you know, we're Nazi pro-Nazi, it's not to me. I was wondering, I mean, Louis didn't say this. He said they were anti-Nazi. They were anti-this, they were anti-that. So it kind of affected me one day, and I realized maybe I should leave, but I stayed just to see what will happen next.
So let me stop you right there. You said that you were in a Teutonian game, and an exploiter responded Nazi flags, and you're saying that Teutonia was like, the people of Teutonia were supporting it, like they were like making jokes like Heil Hitler and whatnot? Okay. I just wanted to... Okay. Is there any evidence of this, for the record?
No, that was like some time ago. I stopped playing the game after that because it affected me to the point where I didn't want to be in the game if that was the case. So I just tried to talk more with the members to see what was going on, and they told me it was anti-Nazi, so I just went ahead with it.
Okay, interesting. Continue.
But after that, I mean, I just let it go. And here's another story. Way before I joined Teutonnia, I wanted to become a member, and I was in the GC once. They said you could say Hail Hitler if you joined Teutonnia. They were like randoms, by the way. They weren't even Teutonians. So I left the GC. They started DMing me. I blocked them. That's why I had to a point where people can't add me unless I add them first. So. But after that, it came to a point where I was getting mad. People were coming at me saying, oh, like God, he's bi, he's gay, he's this, that. Now, mind you, I don't really care what you are, but I'm trying to convert, that's one thing. And I heard Teutonia is anti-Christian. And one time in the group, I heard them say, oh, Jesus is not king, Jesus is this, Jesus is a liar, Jesus is a sinner, Jesus is this. That affected me trying to convert, I realized it was bad. Mind you, I also joined Octavium just to experiment once. They were dead, so I mean, there was no point joining them anyway. And I realized way before I talked with like Wolf, I talked with anybody, I was okay in Xanderism. I was peaceful, no drama, no nothing until I heard everybody's views, and it was like different views. Octavium, I heard Alec is just a groomer, he's a racist, and when I heard from Teutonia, he's a racist. He for white supremacy, he supports this, he supports that, he supports Trump, he's a all that. So to the point I realized I don't want to associate with Alec anymore. I joined Teutonia, I did this like that. But like God, he isn't a social person. I want somebody I can talk to, like a leader that I can look up to. Like Alec, he talks to his members, he does what he needs to do. Like God doesn't talk to his members. He's rude to his members one time. One time somebody pinged him in a server. He said, "Stop pinging me, stop talking to me, stop doing this, stop doing that." I mean, that's no way to treat your people. You know, you're hiding them. It's still no way to treat your people, of course. No, Alec, all I can say is, I mean, I could have stayed in Zaenderism if Fadi weren't giving an attitude. Could let me finish my sentence at least. I could have been in the Zaenderism still. That's one thing I'm gonna let it go, because I could have been a Zaenderist. I could have been a higher rank, actually, maybe, because I was high enough. I could have did this for Frederick. I could have did that. But just because of that one incident with Fadi, everything crushed, everything crumbled. I had one debate with a Tony named Jumper. Probably y'all know him. I bet you all do. He told me Jesus, well, God doesn't control nothing. He doesn't control birth. He doesn't control death. That made me feel, at this point, I might as well just leave Teutonia. Teutonians are very disrespectful, number one. They're very antisocial, that's one. And the group is just messy. Everything is everywhere. The game is everywhere. 1 hour for the border, by the way. To get in the border, you have to wait 1 hour. Nobody's there, nobody's this, nobody's that. What's the point of going to Teutonia while Octavium said Teutonia is not even, doesn't have any common sense about Xanderism? It's fair. It's a good game. It's a good environment for people who want to find a good leader and make a nation, probably. I remember Alec had the idea for his group to be somewhere where I can make a nation. So I mean, if you're going to think about it, Zaenderism is the only way to go so far.
So you mentioned, so you said a lot there. I'm just trying to understand it a little bit better. You mentioned how Teutonia is antisocial, right? When you say they're antisocial, do you mean that there's not really a community aspect? Like there's not really people to interact with, talk with, befriend? Can you go into more detail about that?
I mean, like, as I said with Wade, he doesn't even communicate with members. And the people there, they're like, they harass you, so they don't even support nothing you do. I got harassed for saying something. They harassed me, I forgot. They harassed me and Jim Bro just for saying something about Jesus Christ, I don't know. And then they harassed me and they said, "Oh, you don't belong here, you don't belong." Like, I mean, if you're antisocial, if you don't want to be social with people, just say, I mean, I'm just being honest.
I gotcha. Yeah, I think that you're right. When I was in Teutonia, when I first was in Teutonia, actually, the first time I joined, they were very receptive to prayer. They were very receptive to Christianity. I remember on Christmas, there were a lot of announcements being made in my division, specifically, about Christ. Now, that division command eventually got removed. The division got shut down eventually, and the new leadership was not Christian, so they didn't do that. But I thought that they were very receptive to Christ, and that the controversy that they were not was bullshit. But when I came to Teutonia a second time on an alt, me and Howard Rosenberg, among other people, found out that they were very hostile to Christianity. You know, if you were in a game talking about Christ, members of the group would report it, and they would say it's illegal. And I found out that in 2022, the reason why they were a lot more receptive to it was because they were trying to appeal to the Christian audience because they were under fire for being anti-Christian. In 2025, 3 years later, I think that they aren't as receptive to Christianity because that's how they truly feel. And they have enough power to where if they lose their Christian base, they don't care anymore. So I think that they spend a lot more time trying to push down other Christians. But the antisocial aspect, you're also right about. When I was in Teutonia the first time, there wasn't really an AFK like simulation region. I think the border was like where you go AFK at. There wasn't like a town to go AFK at. But when you had events, everyone was dead. People attended events, they focused on their work, and when your event was over, they all left. There was no interaction, there were no questions. Like, everyone that played the game was like locked in, and not like in a base, like, "Sir, yes, sir, I will die for Lloydguard" way. They were locked in a very like selfish way, in a very like robotic way, where there was no emotion, no empathy. It was very robotic, right? Like in Octavium, there are people who are locked in, but they're like, they're people. Like, they communicate, they socialize, they have emotions. You know, they are locked in, or they're like, "I will die for Aleczaender," but they, like, you can sense it's real, it's genuine. In Teutonia, when people had like a loyalty, or like they had like a locked in mentality, it felt very dead. It felt very inorganic is the term. They were very inorganic about it, and that's why I could never enjoy it, because it just, nothing ever felt real. Everyone felt fake. Everyone felt two-faced. Everyone was two-faced. It was constantly a game of just like power. The power game was such an addictive factor that no one had time to even, I guess, befriend anyone. At least that culture was very much not there when I was there. Of course, I was in the Unity Guard. I was told that if you wanted that culture, you should join the RG, or if you wanted that culture, you should have gotten up to a very high rank. But that's not how a group should be. In a group, that element should be in every aspect of it, not just the high ranks, not just in the Ruler's Guard. Every aspect of that group should have that community aspect, just like my groups do. So that's very enlightening. So you were saying that in Teutonnia, over text, you were telling me that they don't have any common sense. That when you debate them, you know, when you give a valid point, they don't care. They say, well, whatever, just do what I tell you to. Can you expand on what you mean by this, or give any examples?
Well, for one, I'll say, for instance, I can debate Jimper right now. He'll say, oh, I'm a higher up, I'm higher than you, don't matter. Like, he actually recruited me, so. One time I was debating him, I forgot where, somewhere, even in server, even DMs. But he said, oh, I'm a higher up either way it goes, so you have to listen to me, you have to do it for me, you have to do it for me. Now, that was, like, interesting because, I mean, what do you mean you're high up than me? Either way it goes, I thought we were friends. That just shows that Teutonia isn't even a place where you can have true friends. Everybody betrays you, everybody befriends you. It really isn't a good place.
I gotcha. So you would agree that it's a power struggle, that it's not a place to meet other friends, to have like-minded conversations, or debate politics or religion. You know, in Teutonia, it is a hive mind society where everyone there, you know, you basically, it's 1984. You have to do what you're told. If you even try to debate it, they remove you, right? Or they silence you, they censor you, right? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, that.
Okay, interesting. Because in Xanderism, it's like we have a loyalty, we have a hierarchy, we have, you know, people say it's a cult, right? And I think that there's truth to it, but I think that there's exaggerations of it because it's like we still debate people. We have public debates in our server. We debate politics, we debate religion, we debate a number of things in our server. And if you have an opinion that's different, you can have it. It's just a matter of whether it's deconstructive or not, right? It's a matter of if you're there to insult and label people things that they're not and just cause problems, or whether you're there to bring in new ideas that are productive to the group, right? But nonetheless, we're still freer than Teutonia because at least you can have discussions, right? They might be limited, but in Teutonia you can't even have discussions, you can't even have debates, you can't even have freedom of ideas and expression because your high ranks are basically mandated to enforce their policies, not because they're loyal to the values of the group, but because they are just doing what they're told. The difference between our members is that when they enforce a policy, when they enforce loyalty, when they enforce brotherhood and strength and community, they're not just doing it because they're told to. And if they are, then they're not in the right group. They should leave if they're just doing it because they're told to. They're doing it because they believe in the group. They believe in the values. They believe that the Zaenderist ideology, that the order state is making a movement, is a group that is going to bring about a Christian empire to this game. They believe in the vision. They believe in the ideas and idealism that they are willing to metaphorically die for. And that is much different from what Teutonia is doing, which is they are producing this Orwellian totalitarian state where it's just be active because it makes the group more active. Be loyal because it makes the group more powerful without any construct or vision beyond that fact. We are loyal because it makes the group more powerful, but beyond that, it's because we believe in the cause. We want our cause to win above Teutonia. And that is why our vision is more powerful than Teutonia, regardless of what they say, what they do, and what they believe, which they have no belief. You think about it. And I think that's a very powerful thing, but people, unfortunately, don't realize that. You said to me that you were almost kind of like brainwashed into it, that these people put ideas in your head. They told you over and over and over again, Aleczaender groomed Freya. Aleczander scared her into loyalty. He scared her into doing that without her permission, whatever else. And you said that they just kept berating you and berating and berating you until you eventually just gave up. Until you eventually said, you know what? F this. I'm tired of being attacked. I'll just swallow the pill and join. And you found out that contrary to what they say, that group that you joined is nothing like they claimed. They promised you that it would be more free. They promised you that it would be supportive of your religion. It would, at minimum, be indifferent to your religion. You found out the opposite. They do not like Christians. They are antagonistic to Christianity. And in Xanderism, we are the opposite. We are supportive of it. We endorse it. It's not mandatory, but it's something that we obviously hold to a very high standard in our group. So, I think you've exposed a lot here. Is there anything in regards to that you want to expand on about your experience in Teutonia?
I mean, I didn't even have an experience because I just left. I mean, I stopped being active for so many reasons. They were even racist in the game. Yeah, that same day they even said the hard R in the game. So that's the thing.
Who did?
If you're going to be racist and be a Nazi, I mean, I don't support that. I really don't at all. That's the thing. And they even said it about you. You're racist, you're this, you're that. And I couldn't tell the difference from the good or bad. But now that I have realized that Zaenderism is probably the right way.
Right. Well, it's not just about Xanderism being right. It's the fact that we're not hypocritical. You know, I think the issue that you found is that they told you, oh, Aleczaender says the N-word, Aleczander was on the Trump campaign, and he's a racist, he's a misogynist, and then you join Teutonia, and then you find out that that culture is also there, except in Teutonia, it's gay and trans people that are saying this stuff. You know, in Xanderism, it's heterosexual, you know, normal men, and I don't know if I'd say women, but mainly men, that have jobs, that are working out, that are saying and doing this stuff. And it's like when someone else says it, we don't go out there and cancel them. You know, when Leukard says the N-word, or when Leukard says Hitler's a great man, we don't go out and try to cancel him for it. They, on the other hand, are trying to cancel me for what I've said and done, and then Leukard does the exact same thing, if not similar, on a weekly, on a monthly basis. I think that's the main issue here, is the hypocrisy. Not so much the fact that they've done these things, although I would agree, like, yeah, like, you know, neo-Nazism is cringe, it's retarded. It does not work in the 21st century. And I would also agree that, you know, the optics that they put on display is terrible. I mean, you're telling me they win in their own game, and they were exploiting in, you know, swastikas and stuff, which is a very bold claim. You know, I would try to back that up with evidence in the future before saying that, but if it's true, well, you know, optics go out the window. I am a Nazi, I am a fascist, I work in the Trump campaign, and then they proceed to go and they proceed to put swastikas in their game, as you are claiming. It just, to me, it's hypocrisy. I don't really care that they did these things. I care that they did these things and then turn around and say that I am a fascist, I am a Nazi, I am the most evil human being alive. And Leukard, meanwhile, is saying Hitler is a great man, the Holocaust wasn't 6 million, you know, and you know, I'm not saying whether he's right or wrong, I'm just saying he's a hypocrite. He goes out here and says, Aleczander said this, Aleczander said that, and then turns around and says the same exact thing to his private circles. Hypocrisy is the issue here, not the rhetoric, and not even the fact I want him canceled for it. It's the fact, and I don't want to cancel for anything, I want him canceled for being a hypocrite. Because he said that for what I did, it's the death penalty. I should be destroyed. I should be exterminated. Well, what about you? For what you've done, and for what you've said. You get nothing. I receive everything. You receive nothing. Total bullshit, total hypocrisy, in my opinion. I wanted to ask you, because, you know, not very many, because a lot of people joined Teutonia when I was put on trial. There was a division, and a lot of them returned, right? There were very few people that returned after I made Xanderism and I made the Order State. I would say you, Denya, Gempro, yeah, are the only 3 people that stayed in Teutonia. What would you say to people that are still in Teutonia that were in Xanderism?
I mean, I'll say to them, like, I'll just say, you have your opinions, you have your views, okay? But there's no need to be shady about it. There's no need to hate on everybody who's a Zaenderist, who's a Octavium. I mean, it's just views. It's all views. This is not real life. It doesn't have to the point you wish death on somebody. Like they said, you guys wish death on people, and I saw somebody say it once, they wish death on God, but I mean, it's not like Teutonians are perfect. It's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You have your views, but don't bash everybody just because they believe in something else.
I gotcha. And currently, as far as I know, there is no one recently who has defected to Teutonia. I know that there are efforts from Denya to try and recruit people into Teutonia. He has failed miserably. What would you say to people that are trying to brainwash into joining Teutonia? Like, what would you say to people that are not in Teutonia, but they're thinking about joining Teutonia while they're in Xanderism?
Well, to be honest, look at me right now. I'm a person who's trying to come back to Zaenderism. You don't want to end up like me, because if I do get accepted back into Zaenderism, I'm going to get so much hate. If you heard everything I said right now, you'll understand. Teutonia isn't the best. Xanderism probably isn't the best. Octavium probably isn't the best, but Zaenderism is a good environment for people, especially young people at my age. So, if you want to think about it, yeah.
I gotcha. And, I know you mentioned that, like, obviously, like, they lied about stuff, they exaggerated stuff, and whatnot, but, like, what is, like, the main reason that you even want to be part of Zaenderism? Like, is it the values? Is it me? You might have kind of already touched on it, but, like, what has made you kind of put your faith in Xanderism over putting your faith in Teutonia?
I mean, Teutonia, right? They hate on people, as I said before. They hate on this person, they hate on that person because of views, just views. Like, if you think about it, Xanderism doesn't do that. They debate you, they do this, they do that, but they still like your opinions. They get into your opinions. Half of the people in Xanderism probably would convert to a new religion or something just because. I mean, opinions. But Tony, you have to, if you say something about God or Jesus, they say, he isn't real, he isn't this, he isn't that. Don't talk about that, don't talk about this. I mean, why are you afraid? Well, Zaenderism, you can talk about anything you want, and you'll probably be muted depending on the topic, but yeah, Zaenderism is the right place to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, people get muted when it's like, they're like concern trolling, you know, when they're like, swearing is not Christian, and they keep spamming me about it, and I tell them, where does it say it's not Christian? Or I tell them I went to my priest and he said it's fine, and they still bug me about it. You know, I think that concern trolling is one thing, but you know, it's like if there's a genuine concern about something, like the oaths. I've been told this a lot. Oh, oaths are not Christian. The Bible says you cannot swear an oath. You can only say yes or no. Well, I talked to my priest recently. My priest actually said that swearing an oath, as long as the oath is holy, as long as it's for God, for your country, for something that is noble, is fine. He said if the oath is not for something noble, and he said that if the oath is like, if I don't do this, then I will be put to death. If I don't do this, then I will have my arms cut off and my body embottled. You know, obviously that's not a very good oath. That's Masonic. That's even satanic, I would say. But giving an oath where it's like, I swear that I will be loyal, that I will fulfill the value, that I will obey Aleczaender and the values of Xanderism, and I'll put it first. And if I don't, then I am a liar and a traitor. Well, I mean, you are a liar and a traitor. It doesn't mean you're not. I don't think that's unnoble. As a matter of fact, Xanderism is inherently Christian. Inherently, it's for Christ. You know, at the end of every chant, it's an order of Ave Xanderism. Xanderism comes third. Ave Aleczaender. Alexander comes second. Ave Christus Rex. Christ comes first. Ave Christus Rex does not just mean long live Jesus Christ. It actually means Hail Christ the King. Hail Christ the King. You know, I think that's what that stands for completely. So it's like we put Christ first always. We might not always mention him in our speeches, and we probably should do it. We should probably bring him up a lot more in our culture and in our group. But that doesn't mean that we aren't a Christian group and that we don't uphold him first and foremost. Long story short, the oaths are okay. The oaths are valid, they're okay, they're noble. Until I'm told by my priest that they're not, that they are against God and his teachings, they will not stop being sworn. And, I mean, maybe I'll grant an exception if it's extremely valid, but when there is a debate, and there is an objective truth to that debate, and you don't admit defeat, and you cause problems for everyone else, that is an obstruction of order. That is an obstruction of obedience. It causes issues for everyone else. That is the difference between censorship and just law and order, which is what I will uphold, is law and order. And I never ban people just for giving like an opinion. I will always debate people, even if they're a traitor, like even if they're betraying me, and in the process of them leaving they decide to insult me or say like, oh, the Freya thing was like she was groomed and I believe it now. It's like even before I ban them, I debate them. I say, well, you know, I'll go at them, and then they either leave the server or we go until they get banned. But you know, even then, it's like we entertain it. That's the difference. It's like we're not like a democracy. We're not a total, like I would say we're pretty free speech absolutist, but we're not free speech totalitarians. We're not free speech to the point where you can say death to Charlie Kirk and not get banned. Like there's obviously limitations, but we entertain free speech. Teutonia doesn't even entertain free speech. They don't even entertain free ideas. They despise the idea of debate, the idea of having views and discussing them in channels, because they want to control what people think to where it must all be in alignment to the benefit of the group. Because obviously to have discussion, to have debate, will cause people to be sensitive, and they crash out, and then they lose members, and then it all goes to shit. We don't care if people are sensitive and crash out. They can crash out and leave. We move on. We produce our empires, we rally our members, and we hold steadfast in promoting free speech absolutism because it is the right thing to do, and voices deserve to be heard regardless. So, you know, that's how I would view it. But yeah. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, it's probably the last thing, but if I was going to join back Xanderism, do you think it would be bad due to your members already hating me? Because yesterday or the day before, they still call me traitor, stack traitor. I know I am a traitor basically, but I don't want to get too much hate as I used to.
Well, for the record, I don't hate anyone. I don't even hate the worst of traitors. I come close to it, but I still don't hate anyone. The members of the group are not they're not wholesome enough to understand that, because they care a lot about me, and so when they see people, you know, betray me the way they do, they get very angry about it because they feel like it's abusive after everything I've done. That being said, I don't think a lot of them hate you. I would hope they wouldn't, and as a matter of fact, I think that once you rejoin, and once they see that I have forgiven you, that obviously we can move on from this, that you made a mistake, I think that as time goes on, they will move on. And I think as time goes on, you know, they will come to understand that there is forgiveness, that, you know, Christ would forgive any wrongdoings that you've done, any transgressions you have made, just like Christ forgives me and any of my transgressions that I've made or done. And if Christ can forgive, then we can forgive. I think that that's a hard pill for a lot of them to swallow, but I don't think it's impossible. A lot of people that have betrayed me have come back before, and they are doing just fine. So I don't think it's an issue. I have zero issues with you rejoining. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to accommodate you into a position, and I will say the same for many other people. I would say people like GemPro, it's a bigger problem, because GemPro has done this like at least 5 separate times, where he leaves, rejoins, leaves, rejoins, leaves, rejoins, leaves, rejoins, leaves, rejoins. It gets to a point where if you do that over and over and over and over again, then your repentance is not genuine. You're not being serious, right? You either have a bipolar disorder, like you're either mentally ill, or you are, for some reason, an opportunist that just cannot make up your mind on what side is the winning team. And if you can't make up your mind, I don't want to sit there and keep on forgiving you, and you learn nothing from it, and you're not repentant of it, because then I'm enabling bad behavior. That is one thing, and that, justifiably so, means that we cannot forget what someone did, and it must be held as a grudge, not out of unforgiveness, but out of the love for them, so that they can learn that, you know, they need to like figure their shit out. You know, I don't think that you're in that box. You've only made this mistake once in your entire lifetime, as far as I am aware of. So it's like I don't really care, and I think that if they watch this video, they will understand that completely.
Yeah.
So I think you're good. You know, I love everyone, including you, including GemPro and all the other guys, and we just want the best for everyone. And I have no issue with you being within the Order State or Xanderism. I mean, I don't run the Order State, so I can't speak for the Order State, but I think that whatever I say goes there too. So, we welcome you with open arms. We will always welcome you with open arms, and there's not a single hateful bone in my body, so you won't have to worry about it.
Well, I'd like to thank you for letting me speak, and yeah, I hope you have a nice day, a nice life, and I'll be joining Xanderism in a few.
All right. Well, sounds good, Stack. Thank you for coming on. It was great having you. I think we had a very productive discussion. I hope that a lot of people will watch this, that it will change hearts, minds, and souls, and I hope that you learned a lot from this. I hope that you learned a few valuable lessons, and thanks for telling your story. I learned a lot. A lot of interesting stuff was said here, and we will definitely look forward to having you in the future. I look forward to seeing your work in the field, what you do, and I think that you have a bright future in Xanderism. So now that you're back, so thanks for coming on, and thank you YouTube for watching, and we will see you guys all very soon.